Okay, I think it's time to start. Welcome back for another webinar at Fronius International. Greetings from Wels in Austria for our new webinar, What's the Benefit of Smart Meter Data? First of all, as always, I would like to ask you if you can hear my voice properly. So please give us a feedback if you have got the proper sound and raise the hand sign. Perfect. Okay, I'm getting some results. Thanks a lot. So we can start and know that everything's all right. Great. Cool. So for the beginning, I would like to introduce ourselves a bit. We are here today for you. My name is Edzard Ufkes. I'm trainer at Solar Energy here in Austria. And also with me is Hans. Hans is my dear colleague, also here at Solar Energy. Hello, Hans.
Hi.
Hi. So let's see, what are we talking about? First of all, as always, also from the organization point of view, I would inform you that you have got the possibility to ask your questions here during this webinar. So as soon as there are questions coming up, you have got the question pane on the right-hand side where you can post us your questions and we can take care of during this webinar. And also we will look into that maybe in the end if we can pick out some interesting ones and talk about that. So please give us your feedback. And yeah, what are we talking about today? It's not about talking about the hardware too much of the Fronius smart meters. We are talking a little bit more of the data usage, more in a general scope, like getting the data from the smart meters and also from the data manager, Fronius data manager card inside of the inverters. And all of these combine together the usage of those data in Fronius Solar.web. What's the benefit for you also with the use of that? So that's the content. And what I'm showing here on that slide is a little bit a summary of the bullet points of scope of uses, which you are, what you can do with smart meter data. What's the story behind? So using Fronius smart meters in PV systems gives you plenty of possibilities. First of all is you're able to do monitoring. So Fronius data manager data is used for monitoring because you have got more detailed data than just from the inverter. That's first of all. Monitoring in terms of directly on the display of the smart meter for sure, where you can read the actual current electrical factors, what's happening on the feed-in point, and also you can use the monitoring, of course, in the Solar.web portal, where you got have a nice and graphical presentation of the data, and that's one of the main usages, so to say. Second, for control. That means if you're using Fronius PV systems with Fronius inverters inside, you have got the possibility also to retrofit or expand your system. In terms of integrating some other Fronius components, then we need some actual numbers, measures, in terms of that the system can be controlled properly. So that's the second main topic of using Fronius smart meters. Third of all, it's for visualization. Kind of the same like monitoring, the first bullet point, also visualization. That's also with Fronius Solar.web behind. You have got a nice presentation of the data. You are able to visualize for your needs and for your purposes, and gives you plenty of possibilities, which I would like to show you later on. Fourth of all, a little bit more, going a little bit deeper into the graphical details, that gives you possibilities for analysis. So data can be analyzed in terms of, can you do something with your PV system? Can you optimize it? Are there actions which you can take in order to increase the self-consumption rate. So depending on the usage of the PV system, if it's on residential side or yeah, on other purpose, you can do the detailed data analysis. Fifth point is here the feed-in limitation. So this is actually mandatory that you need that the Fronius Smart Meter is required for that terms. So in some countries, depending on the utilities, it is required that you have to have a feed-in limitation depending on the capacity, total PV capacity in the grids. So this helps then for the balancing and also for the stabilization of the national grids. So in that case, feed-in limitation can be enabled on Fronius inverters, and to have a dynamic feed-in limitation available depending on the power usage. This can be enabled on the Fronius inverter depending on the smart meter data. Next point is the increasing self-consumption. I almost said it before, that is something which is getting more and more important, especially nowadays residential systems where you don't get that high feed-in tariff anymore. Then it's interesting to have yeah, a higher or a bigger PV system and also use the available PV power for heating, for example, for storing the energy into energy package and use it later on or during the night times or during times where you don't have got any sunlight. Also, yeah, charging of electrical cars is something what is increasing the self-consumption. So increased level of or increased share of power usage which you are consuming on your own on the household. Increasing self-consumption. Troubleshooting. Troubleshooting is one of the most important things, especially if you're here as an installer. Yeah, it gives you a lots of possibility for troubleshooting also in together with the Fronius portal Solar.web. Here you have got the possibilities to enable every single channel of the smart meter which it delivers. It send it to the internet and to our portal, and from there you can precisely select each channel. I will show you later on how it looks like, but it's not just one possibility you can do with troubleshooting. Extension and retrofitting. Extension and retrofitting is also something in terms of the PV system costs and the usage, like the first bubble before, increasing self-consumption. Maybe after a longer lifetime it can make sense that you are increasing your PV systems depending on the usage, especially for heating also with PV power or storing that into a battery. Besides that, what you're consuming on your own, then it can make sense to extend your PV system. Also retrofitting, maybe retrofitting storage system into the existing PV system is possible, and you have got the precise numbers. With the Fronius Smart Meter you have got the precise numbers for dimensioning and for sizing these components. So selecting the right components, doing the right actions, and also gives you an idea of the expecting values. Okay. This is the overview about the actions, what can be done. I would be very interested of that, what you are using smart meters for. So I've got here a poll which you can please give me a feedback, and there you have got the question is how are you using smart meters already. So please give me your opinion if you're using smart meters already, and what are you using that for. It will be very interesting also for us to know from your side out there how smart meters are used right now. So I'm getting already lots of results, so you still have got the possibility to give us your feedback. Please click on the screen for the right answer. I'm waiting a bit. Okay, I've got already, I think, a good result here. And now I would like to close this poll and show you the result. It is actually 48% are using smart meters for data monitoring, 8% for system control, 25% for feed-in limitation. That's also interesting, nice. And 8% not yet. Okay, probably you're in here to get an overview about what is possible with smart meters, the usage of smart meter data. Thanks a lot for your feedback. Good for us to know. Okay, then let's proceed in our presentation, and I would like to show you about our available Fronius smart meters. So these are actually the models which we are providing for you. So for one-phase grids, we're having here that one 63A1 on the left-hand side, a little bit smaller version, but in fact the same one as for the three-phase ones here, a little bit bigger because we need more space for connecting the cables, three phases on the bottom terminal. On the top terminal, the communication line, the Modbus RTU cables are connected. And here the third one is the 50 kA, or let me say like the 63, as the amps are already showing you, tells you something what is the usage is definitely for residential use. So when you're installing the system and you're already putting the smart meter from the installation time on. For retrofitting or for even bigger systems up to 50 kA, this is then here on the right hand side, the available 50 kA. 3 phases can be used at the maximum. Also less, this is possible as well, by just connecting these external current transducers. These are the 3 gray ones here, down here with the arrow. They are connected on the bottom terminals as well, and has got the advantage that you don't have to touch the installation. So you can just use the external current transducers. These are not provided by Fronius. These are the ones of your choice, and you find a paper on the Fronius website where we give you our recommendation in terms of what's the right choice for the current transducers. Yeah, so these 3 ones are available, same design, same concept, and different kind of usage. And communication line is always realized via a category 506 cable and Modbus RTU data transmission. 3 cables to connect. So, okay, this is just the overview about the products, what we providing. We are not talking about too much about the technical specs here. So if you're interested in that, please go ahead and look on the website. What we would like to point out is a little bit more the purpose. The purpose of, first what we mentioned in the bullet points was the purpose of monitoring. So in each Fronius inverter there is a data manager included. So it's, as soon as it's not named as a light inverter, they are equipped with this communication card here with the orange plug, which gives you the possibility to log and to store the PV system data. And here you can connect via the Modbus cable to the smart meter, between the smart meter and the data manager 2, 3 lines. And so the inverter is getting always the actual data from the smart meter, what's happening to the precise time, and it can react to that. So this is always also possible to configure for internet transmission, so the data can be automatically sent to our Fronius portal Solar.web. This is here on the right hand side. We are providing also apps for Android, for iPhone and Windows systems, so you can download them for free. Try, it's a little bit actually the same scope like using the online version on the browser. So you have got both possibilities. Also the app is available for the smartwatches. Interesting to see that also in your daily life. this all in all is the package from Fronius to the solution for the monitoring. Smart meter together with the data manager are providing the information, doing the measure to the specific time, sending the data to the Fronius Solar.web, and there you can see and monitor it also from wherever you are in the office or on the site or in every internet device. Second is the system control. So Fronius smart meters are required definitely for the Fronius energy package, for example. So you can use that with the Fronius energy package, or you have to use it, so to say, as long as you're using the hybrid inverter with the solar battery, which is here the gray component. So depending on that, also the hybrid is getting the values from the smart meter and can react in terms of storing the energy, the surplus, or even discharging the battery. And all these energy balancing is handled based on smart meter data. So this is required. Also on the right hand side we see the Fronius Ohm Pilot, our new product here, where you are able to use your PV surplus for generating hot water, for to put that in the storage. And maybe Hans, can you tell me a little bit about the method, what is using, what's the idea behind increasing the self-consumption level with using a Fronius Ohm Pilot and do PV heating and also the energy package for storing the energy?
Yeah. Okay, Eddie. Hello, good afternoon. Thank you. There are actually, as you can see here, the smart meter here is used to measure the surplus energy on the feeding point. So we actually do know exactly how much energy we feed into the grid, and we try to use this energy. As Eddie also has explained, there is more and more motivation nowadays to use the own PV energy, so especially in countries where you have low feed-in tariffs or no feed-in tariffs, for example. Then we try first to use to start consumers during daytime, but finally there will be always a kind of rest which we can't use for these loads, so we have to store it anywhere. And the basic idea here is we store it on the left-hand side with the energy package in a battery. So we store all the surplus energy in a battery and use it then for the nighttime. So this is one possibility. And the other possibility is with the Fronius Ohm Pilot. We use all the energy to produce hot water with a heating rod in a boiler. And so we produce hot water during daytime and use this hot water for nighttime, for a shower or whatever. So we also have a kind of storage here with these solutions. So both possibilities give us the possibility to use our surplus energy, and finally we get a very high self-consumption with these solutions.
Okay, so that's the usage of getting the self-consumption rate higher. And I think also with the Fronius Ohm Pilot, you're not limited to the hybrid inverter. Exactly. They can be used for all available Fronius snap-in inverters, right?
Exactly.
Like Primo, Simo, Galvo.
Exactly.
Yes. Yes, very nice. And also it will be possible that the Fronius hybrid goes together with also the Ohm Pilot very soon. So this is the purpose of system control. I think that's pretty obvious. We need smart meter data in terms of system control to have always the right balance. Next purpose is the visualization of the data in the portal Solar.web. So let's look into that live, how it looks like. If you don't know the Fronius Solar.web so far, please check that out here. Solar.web.com is the address, and you will get to this landing page, and you don't actually need necessarily an own account. You can also click here on view demo. We have got some demo plans in here which are provided from Fronius, where you can check out the scope and the use of the Solar.web. We have got here the Fronius 80 Wells reception hybrid. That's the one which is right next to us in our office facility here, and this is right now producing some energy. You can already see here on this view that we have got available PV power, which is right now used for the consumption, for the own consumption here, so to say, 1.05 kilowatts in this case. And we have got still some surplus which is fed into the grid because the battery here down here is already charged 100%, because we have got here today a very nice day in Austria. What's also interesting is to look into here the detailed archive, the day profile here, so to say. We have to click on that and we see the detailed graphic of what it was happening today, so the logging of today. So the battery charging was starting here in the beginning of the day, and you can see in the yellow color is the share of energy what was used for charging the battery. So here in the morning hours we have an increased state of charge. Until the midday here it was already charged, and the gray area then here was surplus which we didn't use for our own consumption in gray here. So that is surplus which was fed into the grid. The green one, thanks a lot. Yeah, so I mean the green share here in this graphic is that one what is surplus which was fed into the grid. Thanks. Also you can here switch to consumption, and you can see the power what was got from the grid here, and also the power from the battery. So nice visualization of the data which you can have when you are using Fronius smart meters here more in detail. The other scope or also interesting plant I wanted to show you is the Fronius Own Pilot. This is a new demo plant what we have in here. Also here is a Fronius Own Pilot for electrical heating installed. So here in this case 530 watts are generated and providing the self-consumption, the consumers in the household as well as the Own Pilot, and no energy is fed into the grid. So it's still very nice right now. And we are looking into the graphs here. We also can see the share of energy what was used for heating up the boiler. So here the bright gray color is the share of energy what was used for heating. The dark gray one here is then the share of energy for the self-consumption and for the consumers. Sorry. And here a little bit more was still surplus which was fed into the grid. So I think it's quite obvious the use of the Fronius Smart Meter in terms of having the detailed overview about everything what's going on in the system. Let's also talk about the troubleshooting possibilities. We have got here the tab, it's called Analysis. In real time you will always see on the first view how your system is performing right now, and then you can also click on History. When you're clicking on History, you have here all system components available, in this case only the SIMO and the energy meter with the feed-in point here, and you can select it. So for visualization you have to tick it or to untick it. Then in the energy meter at the feed-in point is then of course the Fronius Smart Meter. It delivers all these electrical parameters which you can then here enable or disable. So in this case I've got effective power enabled, voltage on phase 1 enabled, and also the power of the Own Pilot. And you can here see the nice graphs which are printed from the Fronius Smart Meter Data in the portal Solar.web, where you can see everything what's going on the feed-in point. Is everything in normal order? Is there some misbehavior? Then you can already check that out from your office location. So that's very nice. You don't have to go to your customer. You can directly see what's happening. Yeah, that's possible for all of these parameters which are available here in total. Please check that out and play around a bit so you are familiar with the possibilities. I just wanted to give you this overview here, and I need to proceed here in the presentation. The purpose, visualization, and also with the visualization we have got one more possibility. So we are not limited to only one. We are always often asked about, is it only available with one Fronius component? No, it's not. Especially if you would like to have a Fronius energy package retrofitted in your system, then you can do so. You can do retrofitting of a Fronius energy package as a storage system in your existing system here. So this is, for example, an existing inverter, which can be a Fronius inverter, or also it could be a third-party inverter. Then you just need a second Fronius Smart Meter in the system. So be careful and don't get me wrong. Of course, for a normal PV system, you just need one smart meter, not two, because that is the main smart meter here for the control here in the feed-in point. So this is the typical installation. If you are retrofitting an existing system, you can extend that by adding another additional Fronius Smart Meter into the consumption path of the other inverter. Then you can connect a Fronius Smart Meter box to that, a data manager box to that one, so that they can communicate and send the data also from the third-party inverter. And you can then, as the next step, put these systems together in Solar.web on the virtual point of view. So then you have got one PV system available with all system data and with everything what's going on. This is very unique and with Fronius, and that's a very cool thing which we would like to show you here as well. Of course, the other way around, it's also possible when you're using a PV system right away with the Fronius energy package, and you don't want to stick to the limitation of the Fronius hybrid output power, then you can increase your PV system and add another inverter to that. Yeah, that's what we was already talking about, the Fronius on-pilot slide. Also for these presentation slides, which you can, which you will receive tomorrow after this webinar, you will also get the slides here. Yeah, and we have got here the purpose of export limitation. If you're from a location where export limitation is required, you can go to the Data Manager 2.0 web interface, open up with the address http://data manager, and then you will get to the web interface where you can do all the control configurations. And here on that slide, here we are showing the area where it has to be enabled. So dynamic power reduction, for example, is then possible when you're using a Fronius Smart Meter. Depending on the surplus you have, you can limit your PV output power. This has got the advantage that no feedback, no feed-in power is fed into the grid, as long as you're lowering down, for example, here to 0%. In countries like, for example, in Spain, this is mandatory that you have to limit the PV output power to 0% so that no PV power is fed into the grid. In that case, it would be 0%. I've got here the screen for an example, like in Germany. There is an export limitation to 70%, which is typical or lots of time used. You can use percentage or watt, and from -10% and 100% is the scale which you can put in here. Okay, now we have learned about these possibilities and all these steps, what can be done with smart meter data. I think it's a quite broad bandwidth of usages, but what is the resulting advantage for you when you are an installer? What is the core message? We have learned about the monitoring possibility, and also we saw the analyzing possibilities for troubleshooting and so on. Yeah, so the channels on the smart meter and reporting. But moreover, what you are able to do then with using these kind of information in your own business is that you are able to use to be able to do proactive service. You can go to your customer because you know what's happening in the system. You always are in charge of what is going on in the system. You can already check that out, monitor it from remote places, and you don't have to wait until something is happening in the system. For example, the inverter is firing a state code or something like that, which is most of the cases informal notifications, not always an error message. So all of that you're able to see, and you can also perform turn the PV system into a better performance. You can go to your customer and can tell him, hey, we can do something with the PV system. There's something what we can do about it in order to get the performance higher, in order to get the self-consumption rate higher, and that you have got a better payback time, for example. Yeah, so this is something what you can do always, because you have got not only the view of your own PV system, you can also monitor all the systems of your customers on one view. So we're giving you here a summary of all the services, service tasks, what you are able to implement in your own business model. So Fronius Solar data are helping you through the whole lifetime of the PV system, of your customer's PV system. From the first beginning, if you are installing a smart meter and a data manager box, for example, on the customer side, you're able to log the data, the consumption and the feed-in, maybe already. Then you can see, okay, what kind of components, what's the best use of the system. You can advise and consult him regarding to this data which you measures what you have. Best planning is possible then with that step. And then you go on and do the installation after the planning phase and startup, but you're not limited to this typical classical portfolio where you're doing as an installer. You can also do a registration in terms of Solar.web registration for the customer, and selecting of the right warranty model, for example. That's all additional service tasks what you can provide to your customer. Then after that installation, doing the service if it's necessary, monitoring of the system if it's performing right, or doing actions to get a better performance, optimization, repowering of the system, maybe after a longer lifetime if it's necessary, to exchange inverters or putting bigger ones, newer ones, or you would like to expand or retrofit your system. All that is possible with smart meter data, because you always have got a good view on your data. Yeah, okay, this is the content of this webinar here today. I think we are a little bit ahead of the time, so we will use the time for answering your questions. And Hans, are there some questions what we can talk about?
Yes, there is. Actually, one question was about more detailed information. We, of course, provide you all the information. You get the slides, you get the video as well. We give you a detailed explanation, the wiring of the smart meter. So this we will send you tomorrow, so that you all know how to install the smart meter. This was one question, and
okay.
Then the other one is we're waiting for your questions. I would say if you have more questions, please feel free to send us your questions.
Okay.
We'll stay with you.
Yeah, we're here for 10 minutes at least, so please let us know if you have got any questions at all. Thank you very much for your attendance so far, and thank you very much, Hans, that you have been here today.
Yeah, thank you too. Thank you.
Yeah, and please tune in the next time when we are coming back with another webinar topics. Please check out our schedule on the website. Again, you'll also get the newsletters from us. Yeah, and maybe see you at our trainings or in our new webinars. See you soon. Bye bye. Have a nice day.